Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I am your host, Mike Malatesta. On this podcast, I dig in deep with every guest to get to the roots of their success, to discover not just how it happened, but why it matters. My mission is to expose the ideas and clues you need to inspire, activate, and maximize the greatness in you. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show and to another one of my Friday short solo episodes. And this episode is about conflict avoidance. And I call it Don't Be a Frog. So you've all heard the story about the frog in the boiling water, right? So the way the story goes is that if you toss a frog into a pot of boiling water, it will jump out of the pot. And if you place a frog into a pot of, say, ambient temperature water, and you slowly turn up the heat over time, the frog will just acclimate itself to the heat until it boils over and the frog is deceased. And I'm pretty sure that the science of that has been disproven, that story is actually a fable. But it doesn't mean that it still can't be a valuable metaphor, a metaphor for life and a metaphor for leadership. So I'm going to take jumping in the boiling water part of that story and place it aside for now, and I'm going to address that in a later episode because I think that the second scenario, the one about the frog sort of acclimating itself to the heat in the pot, is way more common in life and in leadership than the boiling water one. And that story. That part of the story is the one where the heat, and I'm going to use the heat as a metaphor for issues that need to be addressed in terms of leadership. The heat keeps increasing. And yet, while it's increasing, the leader, like the frog in the story, does nothing. And instead, just hopes that things will start to cool. The control knobs, if you think about the stove, the control knobs are nearby, and the solution might be obvious, right? Take control of the knobs and turn down the heat. What's also obvious is the fact that something needs to be done, but yet nothing. It's like crickets. We'll just sweat it out. We'll just sweat it out a little more, and it'll get better. That's how the thinking often goes. And the next thing you know, the whole thing is inevitably boiling over and can no longer be fixed, or certainly can't be fixed easily. So fixing a problem that's been avoided, fixing that water that's been boiling, becomes just a real time suck of a problem. And it didn't have to be. So what caused that pain? Well, was it the water, or was it the leader who chose not to address the conflict, the cause of the water heating up? And in my experience, both my own, and there have been a lot of those, and my observations, it's almost never the conflict that causes the ultimate problem, or the boiling water, or the heating up water problem. It's avoiding the conflict. Problems, conflicts, people, they can all be unpleasant. You know that. But they can't be avoided. They don't age well like a fine wine or a fine cheese. They don't solve themselves. They only get worse. And as they do, your leadership and your ability to lead suffers. and ultimately it disintegrates. So here's the takeaway. Address conflicts in your business and in your life as immediately as you can, while they're fresh and perishable, meaning like we can kill them, because if you let them go and you just sort of like take the heat just slowly rising, first of all, it's unnecessary. And second of all, people are looking at you and they're saying, why isn't something being done? This is an obvious problem. And yet we're sort of acting as if it's just going to go away. Conflict avoidance is not a good game plan, in my opinion and in my experience. So when you see it and you feel it and you sense that something isn't right, address it right away, as immediately as you can, and put it to bed. And then you'll be in water that's cool and comfortable, and get used to being in that water, so that as soon as you feel that it's no longer cool and comfortable, that's your signal. Let's do something about that. I hope you found some value in this episode. I thank you for listening. And my goal is to inspire and activate the greatness that I know is inside each and every one of you. Until next time, make a difference.